Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. This astrology report is for the week of March 24th, and we are in an Aries week. The astrology chart is very low. It's all located in just a couple of different signs. Aries and Pisces has the most action going on and making aspects to other planets outside of those signs too. So just about everyone's involved, and it's a busy time in Aries. So good time just to look at your own astrological birth chart. You know, where is the sign of Aries? Which part of your life is this? And Aries is the sign of new beginnings. And so much newness taking place. We just had the spring equinox, which is also the astrological new year, and that just restarts the yearly cycle in terms of the astrology. We've had Neptune and Saturn, two major planets that move a little more slowly and come into the sign of Aries. The sun is now here, Venus passing through, and Chiron has been drilling down and doing a lot of work in Aries for many years. So yeah, where is this Aries area of life for you, and which house is that? Because this is the area where you are being asked to have new beginnings and to be bold and to be confident and to create new cycles and create new intentions around these cycles also. As each planet moves into Aries, it starts its own new cycle and it hits on the world point, which is also an important point, 0 degrees Aries, to pay attention to in terms of when we are looking at the astrology outside of our personal life. We're looking at astrology in terms of society, and we've seen a time that has been quite interesting and exciting. There has been a major change in the vibes and the zeitgeist of these outer planets, and at the 0 degree point of Aries, which we've seen a lot of action at, this is just where we see a lot of the restructuring and the new cycles in terms of society and the world also. So interesting to be looking at the astrology in terms of our personal life, but then also realizing that we can pull that from the micro out to the macro level. So this week, the moon is in Gemini to begin the week on the 24th of March, and we get our first planetary aspect on the 25th. And this is when the sun is going to come into an exact conjunction with Saturn at 4 degrees of Aries. And this is basically already happening. We're already feeling it when the planets get close together, when they're within 5 degree orb. They're basically already joining their energies together and vibrating and aligning and matching their frequencies. And Neptune is very much involved with these first degrees of Aries and this conjunction of the sun and Saturn, because Neptune's at 2 degrees, which is right within that 5 degree orb. So we have the sun, our personal identity. This is the focus that and our filter in which we are experiencing and seeing the world right now. Aries, is this bold, confident, fiery initiator. And so all these planets are starting new things and taking on this more fiery aspect, and Neptune is the big dreamer. So we've got dreams. Saturn is the planet of responsibilities and getting more serious about things. And the sun is right here in the midst saying, I am readjusting my identity. I am having new beginnings. I'm starting new cycles, and I am building confidence and strength to be bold and to initiate things in my life. The moon moves into Cancer on the 25th, and that is when we start to feel like retreating a little bit more. There is a lot of fiery energy, but there's also a lot of watery energy in the chart. And water is about our emotions, and it's about feeling into things a bit more and using our intuition. So there's a lot of this. Mercury and Mars and the North Node are in Pisces, another water sign. And then Jupiter is in Cancer and the moon moving there on the 25th. So a lot of emotional energy over the 25th and the 26th. And Cancer is about safety and security. And it's about the home and the family and the homelands and the places and the people and the relationships and the situations that make us help us to feel safe and secure. And so we might feel more like retreating. Cancer's ruled by the crab. And when it feels threatened, it pulls everything into that hard exoskeleton. So with moon in Cancer, it's very strong because Cancer is ruled by the moon. So we could feel very strong emotions with Jupiter in Cancer. Also, Jupiter is an expander and makes everything bigger than maybe it wouldn't be without Jupiter there. So we could feel some very big emotions over the next couple of days. That's the 25th, the 26th. But before we leave the 25th, a very busy day, the sun is going to make a perfect sextile with Pluto. And Pluto is at 5 degrees of Aquarius. Pluto is a planet that moves very slowly, and this is one that has been changing the greater structure of society. Pluto's the planet of transformation, death, and rebirth. So when we have Pluto aspects, we can be sure that we can see sort of the end of things and the beginning of things. But it's not necessarily about death on its own. It's about that gooey state that's the in-between, when we are no longer what we used to be, and we certainly haven't formed into what we're going to end up being. It's about that gooey state and the understanding that that is a very sensitive place, and that takes time, and it takes its own time. You can't force the butterfly out of the cocoon or force the caterpillar into it. And so it's a very natural process. And the sun in a sextile to Pluto, this is an easy, harmonious, balanced aspect where this identity, our personal identity, is going through some rebirth, death and rebirth, and is in that gooey, ooey, gooey phase. This is a place where we need to be comfortable this week. Yes, I know we're feeling big, and I know we're feeling strong and confident and wanting to do new things, all this Aries energy, but we also have Pluto aspects, which need sensitivity. We need to lean into the emotions and the intuition and the connection with source here so that we don't overpower the process. See, Aries can overpower and just want to muscle through and push through and just be bold and make things happen. It's the ram just going to ram into something, and there you go. But this week has a vibe to it where we need to be more sensitive, and we need to be leaning into a more gentle and tender way about it. On March 26th, we have another planetary aspect, another exact conjunction, actually. This is Venus at some of the final degrees of Aries, more Aries energy. Yes, it is an Aries week. And Aries is like the infant of the astrological zodiac here. We're talking like the very, very infantile conception of things. And it's the first sign of the zodiac. It doesn't have a lot of experience yet. It's kind of just going off of instinct, where Pisces, another place where we do have a lot of energy right now, Pisces is more about intuition and feeling into things, and also has all of the knowledge of the rest of the zodiac there. It's like source energy and source knowing, Akashic record kind of stuff happening in Pisces, where we can really pull in some amazing knowledge and intelligence and wisdom. Pisces was originally ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter's the wise one. Jupiter is trining Pisces right now, dumping in and supporting Pisces with all kinds of wisdom and knowledge, and imparting good luck, and just basically being like, don't worry, it's like gonna be over soon and we're gonna get through this, Pisces. But back to the conjunction between Venus and Chiron in Aries. This is at 25 degrees of Aries on March 26th. And this is where we could tend to see Chiron is all about our wounds. So when we have our wounds exposed here in Aries, they can feel quite raw, and we might tend to do something off of instinct to make ourselves feel better. Venus is the planet that wants to bring in like good feelings and sensuality, and just wants kind of everything to be good and balanced and harmonious. And we could kind of do something where it's not actually helping, to take that step and to shoot first, but we want to ask those questions first. We want to dig into the Akashic records first before just using this Aries instinct and pulling the trigger, which is totally, totally available for moments and for those who are ready to pull the trigger, and the rubber band has been pulled tight enough and we are ready to go. See, that this is where that Aries energy comes in very, very nicely, where we may not have the confidence or feel like stepping up and making these moves when these energies are aligned like they are right now. But Chiron is about our wounds. And so we could have the wounds of relationships and of our financials, our financial areas of our life, what Venus represents, these sensual areas of our life, even like where we find pleasure in our life. It could be feeling a little wounded, or we could be exposed to some of the wounding around some of this in our life. And again, where is this in your birth chart? Where's 25 degrees of Aries? Because this is where this new cycle, like 2 planets, an asteroid is what Chiron is, and these coming together and starting a new cycle in terms of love and money and our value systems. And then on the 27th of March, we have the moon moving into Leo, and this looks like a really good day to me. There are a few trines on this day in opposition, which oppositions are decision-making type of energies, and then an inconjunct later in the evening on Friday, which is making adjustments. But the morning and the most of the day here with all this trines looks so good, like very supportive. So as the moon is moving through Leo, it's making trines to all of the action in Aries. And this is a moment where when the moon was moving through Cancer, it was a little more challenging and wanted to just kind of retreat and not be faced with so many things sort of bothering our feelings of safety and security and our need and our desire to just kind of have these intimate things. The moon moves into Leo and fires up a little bit more, takes on a bit of a more desire to express express itself. And the moon is like the general mood. So we can kind of expect these vibes to come through on Friday, the 27th, and be trining all of the activity in Aries, and trines are supportive. So it's like, okay, so what do we need to get done here? What do we need to process? Plenty, because Aries is having multiple planetary conjunctions this week and a lot of action. So we, in Leo, find a way to be playful about it and bring a little bit more of a childlike spirit to it. All of the emotional energy of the water signs could be making us feel very, very sensitive. And this Leo moon is going to come through on Friday and Saturday this week and remind us that it's okay to be playful and it's okay to laugh at ourselves and to have fun and to joke and to not take ourselves too seriously, because on the 28th, we have the biggest event of the week, and that is Saturn in a perfect sextile with Pluto. We've talked about both of these planets already. Saturn is going to be at 5 degrees of Aries for this conjunction, and Pluto at 5 of Aquarius. This is the first sextile since these two had their planetary conjunction. See, Saturn aligned with Pluto at 22-23 Capricorn back in 2020. So there's something coming through this week that is going to be reminding us of 2020 and the new cycle that Saturn and Pluto started at that time. Those final degrees of Capricorn got really, really worked 2020 and 2021. And we are still seeing these planetary conjunctions, these cycles play out. And this is where we get to see some of this cycle playing out, where Saturn is our responsibilities. And right now, our responsibilities lie in Aries. And Aries is about the self. We are taking ourself on as our biggest project right now. Saturn in Aries wants to work and be ambitious about the self and building the courage and building the confidence and the boldness that Aries needs to initiate all of these new things. See, it's not easy to have all of these new beginnings at once. Everybody is feeling it. As I mentioned, this 0-degree Aries point is the world point. Everybody in the world is feeling the changes right now. You are not the only one. And Saturn is reminding us that we are our own personal responsibilities. We can't control what others do, but we can control and be aligned with ourselves. And so Saturn in Aries is reminding us and is showing us to do that. Saturn hasn't been in Aries for 35 years. So this is a reminder that we've needed for a while. Pluto in Aquarius is taking over the sign of the people. Aquarius is about revolution and revelation, and groups of people coming together with like-minded actions and alignments there. And Pluto is the transformative planet that wants to put everything into that gooey, transformative state in the cocoon and watch it have a complete death and a brand new rebirth. Pluto holds within it the promise of the rebirth. It's not just all about death with Pluto. There is always a follow-up. The ending always is followed by a new beginning, but it can feel quite discouraging. It can feel a little bit like it steals our confidence a bit to be in this gooey state, but it is something that we must get used to this week is being in this kind of this gooey state and not really knowing what the end form is even going to look like. And this aspect between Saturn and Pluto is a little bit heavy. I mean, Saturn and Pluto are both pretty heavy energies. And so, the thing is to lean into that Leo moon when we are feeling a little off or a little down about any kind of, additions to this story and this cycle, that we started back in 2020. And this week we are seeing a type of resurgence, and Saturn and Pluto are in a sextile. So it's actually a really balanced, harmonious type of aspect, but it is serious it is a little more serious type of situations that we could be dealing with, or information, or just having some real things going on right now. But it's balanced, it's harmonious, and the promise of the rebirth and the new beginning is always there with Pluto. On the 29th, the moon moves into Virgo, and we get a grounded moon. We get somebody who wants to plan and clean and detox and organize and bring things back to sort of a square one again. Virgo's the perfectionist, so definitely being aware that this Virgo moon definitely wants to have things in this sort of perfect order that sometimes is a bit unattainable. And we have a lot of conjuncts with the moon on Sunday. So just being aware that that's going to be a little bit of a little tougher energy, and conjuncts are just all about sitting with things, so trying not to take too much action with that Virgo moon on Sunday, I think, is important. And on the 30th of March, the planet Venus moves into Taurus and leaves the Aries party. Venus is at home in Taurus. This is her home sign, one of them. And so she's going to be strong here. The planet of sensuality and pleasure and the arts and relationships and money and value systems. We're going to get a change of that vibe. And Taurus is another earth sign. So we get a little more earth energy by the end of the week, grounding us, helping us put our feet on the ground. Maybe we try and get out and actually put our feet on the ground, because it is so good for us to be in touch with that earth mother just as much as we are in touch with what is going on out there in the cosmos. And I just thank you so much for being tuned in here to the Cosmic Community Astrology with your galactic ambassador, Stacey Dredd. I hope you have an amazing week. Talk to you soon. Take care. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.